Hi, I'm Danielle Adams-Norenberg and I am Head of Psychology at UKSI. Performance decompression is a process that can support people return to, let's say, a more normal, relaxed state after a period of intense delivery or performance. We've spoken to performance decompression as a four-stage process. The first one being a hot debrief, which tends to happen quite typically in sports anyway, immediately after the performance. It's those quick fire words that come quite immediately after an athlete particularly has performed. So we see that as the first stage of that process to performance decompression. The second stage we've called time zero, and it's a period of time after the event. So let's say an athlete has returned home from the place of competition or a staff member has returned home. We encourage a period of time zero where they remove themselves from the sporting environment and they reconnect with the things that matter outside of performance in the sport or work. Stage three, we call processing the emotions, and that's typically a conversation that someone can have with someone who's trained in processing the emotions, and that doesn't have to be a psychologist. And that conversation is very much about making sense of the emotions that came up during the games, normalizing them, accepting them, and then being able to identify the strengths and strategies that help them through the games period. We then start to look forward a little bit more. Now, the final stage in the four-stage process of performance decompression that we've identified is that final performance review or debrief. And what we've been really particular about at UKSI is those two stages in the middle, the time zero and the processing of the emotions. Time zero is that period of time where we encourage you to take a break from work and to switch off from the performance demands that you've just experienced at the games. We've got three simple recommendations to help you navigate this time, because during that time you're likely to experience a number of thoughts and feelings that take you back to the games environment or maybe even forward into the future. The three things that we recommend you do is, one, attempt to be present when you can, engage and enjoy the opportunities to connect with friends and family that you have. Second one, ride the waves of emotions. Emotions are inevitable and they will pass. And especially when you've got to process the emotion conversation, you know that you can work with those when you get to that conversation. There's nothing that needs to be fixed or answered immediately at this point in time. And third, reconnect with friends and family. Anyone who's involved in the games, we encourage you to think about your own performance decompression. Encourage you to think about when you might have that time zero, what it might look like and what you do within that period of time. And then, is there someone that you could choose to help guide you through that processing of the emotions conversation? So anyone who is involved and has been involved in supporting athletes, coaches and staff through to the games, it's probably going to be very helpful for them in terms of decompressing and, like I said, returning back to a more normal state, having returned home after quite a busy period of time. I guess if it hasn't reached out to people at this point, it would be very important for you to contact myself and/or my colleague Sarah Cecil, who's also leading on performance decompression for the sports psychology team.